This is All India Radio. Children's Hour. Good morning, children. In today's Children's Hour, we have with us Amana, your friend. She is a poetess and is studying in 8th standard in Bishop Cotton Girls' School. Do you know that Amna has the youngest poet record in her name? Let us talk to her and find out more about Amna. Hello, Amna.
Hi, my name is Amana.
Uh,
I study in 8th standard in Bishop Cotton Girls' School, Bangalore. I write poems and I love reading books. And in my family, there are my parents and my grandparents. My mom is very supportive and encouraging in this journey of poems. And then about my day-to-day life, my day starts at 5:45, and then I get up for my yoga. And then after my breakfast and daily chores, I go for my online classes. After it ends my lunch and then my homework and tuitions. And in the evenings, I read books if I have time. And of course, write poems.
okay, we have been telling your friends that you are a poetess, and we started with your talk. Let us listen to one of your poetry.
Sure. So the poem is Humanity, the Language of the Soul. Humanity, the greatest attribute, for gentleness we should distribute. To the harmony and mercy we contribute, being empathetic among is the biggest tribute. Humanity is living with simplicity, sharing everything in our capacity, loving and uniting people in diversity, being compassionate during crisis of intensity. Humanity is an altruistic virtue, the path of goodness to pursue, and tenderness to the needy will ensue, for practicing humanity is humankind's biggest value. Humanity is the quality of being humane, its morality to attain, benevolence to obtain in the end, people with humanity will remain.
As I was observing in your poetry, for every stanza you have rhymed,
Yeah.
right? The last word you have rhymed. So how do you write poetry?
Mostly I feel free to express my thoughts. It's not necessary to rhyme in most of the cases. So it's not forced. When it comes out naturally, then it rhymes. But when it doesn't, it's fine because it's just your thoughts and your emotions flowing out in words.
When did you write your first poetry actually?
It was during the first lockdown in the pandemic, April 4th of 2020. When I was getting bored, my mom said, "You read so much of books, why not write poems?"
So you thought of writing it,
Yes,
expressing yourself.
in words.
When you wrote for the first time, whom did you show it to?
My mom, then she was the one who encouraged me to keep writing and never stop.
Actually, I wanted to ask you, did you show it to any of the poets
No.
regarding the writing?
I
and
showed
all?
it to my mom's friend who was very fluent and good with the language, and then he corrected or edited my grammatical errors.
But the meter was not changed by the person who scrutinized.
No, he didn't change the flow of the thoughts, he just made it grammatically correct.
Okay. Then do you dream a lot?
Yes, I do.
Because poetry comes from dream, they say.
Yes, very true.
What all do you dream about?
Mostly I dream about the ways I could improve my poems or the ideas for the poems or the thoughts about it.
Do you fly in the clouds?
Yeah, when I write fantasy poems, I twirl in the clouds and flow in the sky.
Do you like Walt Disney's?
Fiction and non-fiction, no.
No. You like only poems?
Yes.
Did you like the musical opera of Walt Disney?
No, I didn't quite follow it.
You didn't follow it. Okay. Which musical opera do you follow? Do you follow?
Music, as a genre, I follow Indian artists.
Okay. Because you write English poetry, I wanted to know, do you follow any particular authors?
Authors, yes, I do. Quite a few like Ruskin Bond, Preeti Shinoy, Sudha Murthy Ji, and then John Green. And John Green I like because of his narrative. It's so real and it does not seem to be fake. The way his characters have depth in their character sketch and the way all the protagonists meet the end naturally.
Because I haven't read Green, I couldn't understand a single thing about what you said. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, sure. This the novel is The Fault in Our Stars. The story goes around two cancer patients, one who is hopeless about the situation and the one who is so optimistic about it. But unfortunately, in the end, the one who is optimistic about it meets his death. And then one who seems so forlorn with the situation tries to gather courage and start a new life.
What did you like about it?
I like the fact that it's not conceptualized such that it renders to be fake. It's so true to its nature and it what goes on in real life.
Mm, you could link it with the day to day incidents which you see.
Yes,
Okay. So your poetry is more of factual things,
yes, reality.
reality, and you don't like fantasy.
I do like dreaming about it, but at one point of the time, the dream blasts and then there's reality to face.
Correct. It's very true. Actually, they say to dream is good, but to realize the dream is more important. That's what
Yes, indeed.
you are. Okay, Amna. Keats, Shelley, Wordsworth. Do you know any of these nature poets?
I've come across their poems in social media and quite a few websites, but have not followed. I've read them thoroughly to judge or criticize their works or elaborate on it.
Because Shelley is more known as a nature poet,
Yes,
and Wordsworth's sonnets are very famous.
and even Robert Frost's nature poems.
True. So you want to read any of these any time of?
Yeah, I plan to read about them in the near future.
What all books do you have actually?
I have books from Preeti Shinoy and then Ruskin Bond. I have quite a few collection of his. His books are most on day-to-day lives in the mountains. It's like a breath of fresh air, so far from the city hubbubs. And then Sudhamurti for the mythological facts like the Mahabharata. And then I do follow books by Shashi Tharoor too. And more to that, I like books by Jeff Kinney that chronicles the life of school graders of children, and then even Dog Diaries by Rachel Winnie Vassell of a young teenage girl and her life.
When you write poetry, do you show these poetry to your class teachers?
Yes, some of them I read it out to my class teachers, I forward it to them, and they are quite appreciative about it.
Who are they?
My English teachers mostly. Um, they are quite appreciative and they motivate me to write. And my English teacher, Mrs. Preeti John Matthew, is the one who keeps me so inspired to keep on writing. And Miss Juliet was the one who started me on the journey of writing, as she was the one when I first written an essay on a topic. She told me to continue writing because I had a gift for it.
What is the reaction of your friends?
They are so appreciative and they make me feel gratified with their compliments and words, and they are so supporting and encouraging. And even my principal too, she was the one who encourages me, inspires me, and has always been there like a rock.
So your school, your friends, your family, everybody have been supportive of your writing.
Yes, I feel blessed to have them in my life.
True, because when you dream something and when you want to achieve something, that support is required for children, isn't it?
Yes, very true.
We have come to a point where perhaps your friends want to listen to one more of your poetry.
Sure. So the poem goes like: Woman, a positive inspiration. A woman is generous, her life is gracious, with a mind that's courageous, with her sacrifices are tremendous. A woman is appreciative, with passion that is innovative. Any time her act is cooperative, her soul is meditative. A woman's life is of endurance, living with perseverance, with awing intelligence and a caring elegance. Women are faithful, they make everything delightful, their deeds are trustful, To women, we should be grateful for the world she is just full. Be proud to be a woman.
And who was the woman you were seeing when you wrote this poem?
My mom, she is my only inspiration for this poem.
So, you have been telling about your mother. What does she do?
She is a government officer, and then she is also been the one who started me on this journey, and has been the force which pushes me. I just write the poems, but day and night she is the one who corrects it, edits it, and goes on with the publishing work, and even talks with the persons concerned.
So, she has seen to it that your books get published.
Yes.
Okay, Amna, tell us about your first book.
My first book titled Echoes of Soulful Poems, which was titled for a reason because it echoes the poems that came out from the soul. So they were not filtered, or they were just pure, as fresh as morning dew, and they were so resounding with the current situation then, about how the negativity was all around, and we are trying to, or we crave for some positivity, and it was basically our thoughts and our ideology then. And for my book, Echoes of Soulful Poems, my first book, the foreword was given by the Moonman of India, the distinguished Indian scientist, Dr. M. Annadurai sir. And he had very nicely described the book with his beautiful words.
You were still in sixth standard when this book was written?
Yes, I was in sixth.
Okay. And a function was organized to publish this book?
Yes, a ceremony was organized, and then it was quite a warmful ceremony. Where it saw in attendance was the then education minister, and then the poet Padma Shri Dodrange Gowda sir, and then the famous author Jogi sir, and then my respected principal Dr. Mrs. Lavanya Mitran ma'am. And then the education minister then also complimented in his speech of how in my sixth standard I started writing poems and found optimism in them instead of the pessimism all around. And even the poet Dr. Dodrange Gowda sir also complimented me for writing such resounding poems in such a young age.
True, because the lockdown period was a period when most of the minds went blank.
Yes.
They were all disturbed with the silence and the deaths that were going all around, and there was lot of depression.
Yes.
But your poetry might have come as a breeze of positivity.
That's what I was hopeful for would bring.
Nice, very nice. Because even in that situation, you could think of something very nice, and your thoughts were pure, and you could think of, because poetry is something which refreshes the mind, which refreshes the heart.
Yes, it reflects the mind.
When we read poetry, actually we get energized. So that energy you could put it into yourself, and your pen and paper were doing all the work, spreading the energy all through the society. That is something nice.
Yes, it was wonderful.
You have told us about your first book. How many poems are there, by the way?
There are about 61 poems of varied themes, mostly the pandemic, about family, the nature, friendship, about weather, seasons, and everything.
Okay. Now you are going to read about which one?
I read my first poem, Corona, the New Outbreak. So it goes like this. Silently it came, violently it spread. No one to blame, life is now hanging by a thread. No movement, nor any noise, living in contentment where there exists no choice. Let us come together for our nation. Let us abide by one another in this situation. Government work day and night for our better right. Do your contribution with a lot of devotion. We can stop Corona when we help them to help us. Everything, the flora and the fauna, has come to stand still. Not a time to fall ill. Stop spreading fake messages. Please don't encourage voyages. Stay home, stay safe.
Now that we are talking about third wave and the COVID spreading in different parts of the world, perhaps your message will help them. And hope at least very soon the world will be out of COVID.
Yes, everyone prays for that.
Yeah, true. So, Amna, this is the only book written by you?
No, my second book is due to be published the next month.
About?
It's titled The World Amidst the Words. It's the same, the pandemic, the thoughts, the experiences, even humor and horror, about God, about nature, how we have to conserve nature.
And the copyright is given to the publisher or yourself?
The copyright is given to me,
Okay,
the author.
so perhaps you can read one of the poems from your second book.
Okay, so this poem is from my second book titled The Mother Earth, the Sublime Unexplored. The Earth, a divine planet where millions of beings dwell, from Wilson mountains to Umber deserts, its beauty will have us under its spell. Everything its azure ocean swell, the green forests and deep ravine adds to Earth's attractive melt. The Earth is generous, from arid plateaus to erupting volcanoes. It indeed is one of us. By exploiting, isn't it honeyous? We shall conserve it and make it more prosperous. The earth is as pure as snow. It extends from north to south and takes places you never know. It is tarried from eons ago. Residing on it, we shall suffer it to burgeon and grow. From the eaves soaring overhead to the trees widespread. The earth is amazingly vast. It's flawless, has everything from island to mast. It's an exceptional planet we could ever last. Hashtag conserve, preserve, give them the love the earth deserve.
As you were reading this, I could think of Storudat.
Thank That's the biggest compliment.
Really, because I have been influenced by Toru, and as you were reading it out, I recalled the poems written by her, and the language and the presentation. It sounds so very similar. Perhaps you will grow and become the second Toru of India.
That's such a huge compliment and big responsibility.
So, Amna, have you participated in any of the competitions?
No, not any, but I have sent my nominations for one competition, the Great Anthology of India, of which my poem was published in the collection of poems.
Okay. And as I was telling your friends in the beginning of the program, I said you have the record as the youngest poetess.
Yes.
So when was it done, and what was the record about? Can you give us the details?
Yes, so the record was as India Book of Records as the youngest poetess in India.
So India Book of Records awarded you with the youngest poetess award.
Yes.
Okay.
And then most of the records have been managed by my mom as she sends nomination. But the record was set on June 27th of 2021. And then they had gifted us the certificate, a medal and a pen. And then the Asia Book of Records, I was titled as the Grandmaster for writing poems at such a young age. And then in Kautilya Awards of the Youngest Poetess of India, I was titled by His Excellency Governor of Goa. Mm-hmm. And I was also awarded in my native by the Gram Panchayat.
Which is your native place?
Mandya.
Mandya. Oh, you're from Mandya.
Yes.
And your grandparents stay there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you like Mandya better or Bangalore?
Yes, for the vacations, I like to go there in the lush fields and the fresh breeze and the soil.
Okay. We have been listening to Amana as an adult who writes poems and who is very mature and all that. As a child, what does Amana do?
I'm like any other young kid. I like reading books, listening to music by Indian artists, and then I do my schoolwork, and that's about my entity.
Sports?
Not so much well versed in sports, but I do like badminton.
And what is your sports time every day? Do you play any games in the day?
No, not as such, but in the weekends maybe.
You go out with your friends?
No, with my mom.
And so your mom is your guide, your mentor, and she's your manager too, because she has been managing all this.
Yes, like she's my everything of my whole existence.
And she's your friend also.
Yes, the best friend.
Because she plays with you.
Yes.
Who are your friends in your surroundings?
In my neighborhood, there aren't much kids such. They're mostly adults and people of other age groups. But since it's online, I can't meet my friends, so it's mostly texting them.
How has been the experience of being online because during offline you would go and meet your friends in school. So what difference does it make it to your life?
Yeah, the communication gap, like during the normal days, if school would meet every day, the physical interactions would be much more than now. And now it's just texting, and then emotions can't be, comprehended by messages. So it's more of a bane than a boon.
But in spite of that, you have been spreading positivity all around with your
Yes,
poetry.
I try as much as I can to.
In turn, you have been putting positivity into yourself also
Yes.
through this. Huh? Okay, Amna. So before we conclude, let us listen to one more of your poem.
Yeah, sure. It's for the great Indian anthology. The poem is Awaiting the Rainbow. Better living in distrust than having trust broken. Better living in solitude than having one's soul broken. Better living half heartedly than a hearty image shattered. Better of practical than a beautiful dream being crashed. Some eyes see this anguish while some see the hidden good. It's on you what I should see. Don't crib, there's a purpose still awaiting to set your baggage free. Better a little storm than a massive hurricane. Wait for a rainbow after a bittersweet pain. Better a bout of turmoil than an anxious period of nothing. Better a chaotic journey of exclamatory than a monotonous spear of a full stop.
Very nice. Thank you, Amna, for being part of this program in All India Radio. And as I could see, you were attending classes and you attended the recording also. Thank you for being with us and
It
giving
was
in.
my pleasure. I loved doing this interview.
Happy to have met you, and perhaps your friends are also enjoying. They must be thinking we may also become Amna one day by writing some poetry.
They can do more than me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dear children, that was Amna, your friend who has got a record of youngest poetess.